So we'll start off our session today. Thank you, Megan and Michelle, for being here. Marlon did say he'll join us, but he might be late. In the meantime, we're going to kick it off by chatting with Megan and Michelle about the common challenges that they see with their clients when they are trying to implement their training. Michelle, I'm going to start with you. What is the first challenge that you find your clients battle with when they get all excited, they have a session with you, they get all excited and they go off and then nothing happens? Why?
I think Megan and I are going to have a lot in common on this one. So I think the biggest problem I find with people, especially people, because Megan didn't know, I did How to Get Your Customers' Attention and Keep It. And basically they have two things. One is kind of getting all hung up on the branding as opposed to the brand, and the logo doesn't make the brand. So kind of just making that little leap across is it's just be you and you're the brand when you get started out. And I think the second time everybody hits a wall and starts swearing at me is when they've got to do that customer persona exercise, where they've actually got to niche down, and I tell them, I can sell my product to anybody and everybody. I said, yes, but you can't sell it to everybody at the same time. Like, pick just 3 customers, only 3 types of people that you can do it. And then I want you to conjure up an image in front of you of that person so that you can have a conversation with them, and it makes your marketing so much easier. Because, if they're talking women and men 35 to 45, it doesn't work. If I say it's, Michelle, she's 52, her kids are 28 and 23, a business owner, she consumes her money, her content on internet, digital magazines, and TikTok, for example. It's far more easier for them to understand. And these are her goals, and these are her values, and these are her pain points, and these are her challenges. And this is what's really unique about me. And I ban them from using passionate when they start out, because find something you're good at and you'll become passionate. You're not necessarily good at what you're passionate about. So people need to understand when they're making businesses. And then just focusing that thing on being a sniper. Go after one type of client at a time. Clear messaging, clear branding, clear imagery, clear wording, everything that appeals to that person. And then move on to the next one. It's like walking to the woods with a shotgun. You don't know what you're coming home with for dinner. Like, rather just go and do one thing at a time. So I think that's the difficult. They're so desperate to get as many sales as possible that it's very scary for them to only go after one type of client. But it really does work. And I think those are the 2 difficult things.
Megan, do you agree?
Sorry, I was just dealing with children, so that's also a challenge.
Fair enough. Michelle's just saying the biggest challenge she finds is people who battle with the niche idea, and they want to just sell their product to everyone. And Michelle's saying, yes, you can, but one at a time, and then trying to get people to focus that down and actually develop that niche and develop the wording around that niche can be quite challenging. Do you find the same issue? Do people give you pushback when you talk about niche?
Yeah, so I think just to tell Michelle as well, my topic was how to kind of navigate your niche, because I also feel strongly about target market versus niche, that they're not the same thing. For me, a target market is a slightly broader audience, although you are segmenting them into your persona. Totally agree with that. But a niche for me is when you become a specialist, as like I mentioned in my case study, into kids nutrition. That becomes your niche. So just slightly different with that. So I think my biggest kickbacks alongside everything Michelle has said is also they kind of, because of that fear of missing out, like let's call it FOMO, because they want to go after everybody. There's that I think there's that feeling of overthinking, and then they're like, oh, but then I haven't really had this client before, or I haven't serviced many clients like this, and as I also say, along the journey, we need to define who the clients are that we want to work with. Like, I'm so passionate about that. Like, you need to develop your offering around the people that you want to work with, because I've said, like, we don't want to work with everybody, right? So you might have been servicing the everybody's and not really finding your place. So through the exercise, people start like, but this doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm losing out. Don't, because if your findings and everything you've done through the process that I've shown you gets to that very key point, just do it, because you can always change it again. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can go in and you can explore with that segment if you decided on a certain persona, and or you decided to niche, whatever it may be that you decided. There's also that element of trial. You know, I've also tried a niche and I've just said, no, this ain't going to happen. And so I've also started defining more target markets and saying, these are the people that I want to service. And again, I've kind of also gone on the bandwagon and tried this segment and went, this is not who I want to work with. So at the same time, don't do the exercise, get to the point, just start. Implement, agreed, like Michelle has said, focusing your message on this very specific person and everything about that. And go on the journey and trial and test it, because you're either going to maybe not like them anyway, or you're not going to get the attention of the right market. You just got to try and test it and see what's going to work. Like, don't get caught in the not trying, because another big thing I want to also mention, which came out actually on our summit last week, is this little imposter syndrome thing. It's like, as soon as we start trying something new, because now we're obviously going to come out of our comfort zone. Going through this process, we obviously have to come out of our comfort zone, because we're learning new things and we want to start implementing now what these experts have taught us, right? So we're going to be feeling a little bit of discomfort and like, this is feeling like again, I'm missing out on a big portion of the market, because I think that's a big fear factor. But just go with it and stop putting those little thoughts in your head and just put them aside. Recognize if it's an imposter thought or a thought that's just limiting you, and just say, override it, put it aside, I'm going in. Okay, because I think once we've decided that this is what we're going to do, we just got to do it, right? And so don't let that little voice come in, because that's, I think, also another factor. I've gone through quite a few sessions with clients, and they get to that point and they're equipped and they've got absolutely everything they need and more, but they stop themselves because they just
scared.
Feel that they're scared. Exactly. They're just like, but nobody else is doing it like this. Why should I? Well, that's exactly why you should be doing it like that, because you want to be recognized as the authority in your mastery, as I say. So, yeah, I think, following on from what Michelle said, I can just kind of add on to that.
And look, I can from the client perspective, I can tell you, I battled a lot. Accountants are notorious at not niching. We're like, but I can literally do the accounts for anyone. I mean, accounting does not change from your business size to your industry to your country. Accounting is the same. There's nuances that change, but the central thing is the same. So, and I know it's a big thing in my industry. People are terrified to niche because they this FOMO feeling, this thing of, well, what if there aren't enough of that client that now I've decided, which is crazy if you think about it. If you just go do a search in LinkedIn for accountants versus an industry owner, and you'll see there are way more clients than there are accountants in the world. So you'll never run out of potential clients. But because I spent 14 years serving everyone before I learned about niching, when I had to do this target market and this niche, it was one of the most difficult things I've ever done in my life, because the person who took us through this exercise was actually, he deals directly with accountants. So he actually specializes in helping accountants niche. And I still couldn't do it. And because he goes through these questions, he's like, okay, so now you list your client base, now do them by industry and then see which industry leaps out at you. And I'm like, literally I didn't have a predominant industry. I didn't have a predominant business size. You wouldn't think it's possible, but over 14 years of business, I dealt with about 100 different client types, and I couldn't actually go, you know what, I've dealt with 10 of this type and I like them. Couldn't do it. It was really hard. And so I had to do, instead of just going, okay, well, this is my area of comfort, I had to go, okay, who do I like? Who do I like dealing with in my client base?
Work with.
Yeah. And I'm just going to go with that, because I can't, by industry is impossible for me. At least, it was. And I just, I'm just like, well, then I'm just going to pick the client that I've enjoyed working with and do a persona around them. And I think, apart from whether you're comfortable or whether the marketing is good, I think that's good for your mental health to work with the clients you like.
Well, my husband's my business partner, and he sits opposite me in the office, and he says he can tell within 2 minutes of me meeting with someone whether I'm going to want to work with them or not, because I literally go, no, this is not going to work. And I think, you know what, I made a promise to myself that when I left corporate, I would never again be joining a meeting with that sense of insecurity, trepidation, or almost fear. You know what it's like when you work in a corporate environment. You don't need that kind of stress anymore. So if I'm not looking forward to meeting with this person doesn't belong on my bus, and I will find them someone else who they'll work well with. But you're literally right. It's just not good for your mental health to deal with people. It's unnecessary stress you don't need.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be from anyone watching, that would be my advice. If you're battling to pick a niche, just go with the people you like. It's life is too short to be dreading your meetings, like you say, Michelle. Like if there's a client coming up and you just actually wish that you could fast forward through the meeting and be on the other side, then probably rethink having them as a client.
Yeah, exactly.
And what would you say, Megan, when you deal with clients, even if they get their niching right, if they're comfortable with that, do you find that after that they find it easy to implement your marketing strategies, or do they hit any other stumbling blocks, even if they're happy with their target market?
Yeah, so in most cases, I think there's a comfort, because through the process that I took your guys through as well, is you really establishing who that person is. So I think on the offset, there's definitely more of a relationship. Like I say, choose the customers you want to work with. Does it allow them to implement their messaging better? Totally, because then they realize that not everybody's their client. It also helps them, like when they start connecting on LinkedIn, they've got a very specific person, and they're not just accepting connections for the sake of growing their followers and connections on LinkedIn. So it does change. It changes the whole way they actually do business, because they also stop looking. Okay, that's still a bit of a challenge, but they stop looking at what their competitors are saying and doing, because they do not have the same objectives in terms of target market. So that's a good thing, generally, I say, because if you can't be comparing yourself, it's either apples or apples, or you don't compare yourself to a banana. So that's a good thing, because then they've got clarity and they've got direction. So they put their head down and they just gun that specific person, get to know that specific person even better. And once they start interacting with that specific person, they start getting more and more feedback, and they get deeper into the relationship. So it does make the journey much easier. There's very few clients that I believe have gone onto the journey and said, oh gosh, no, I'm hating servicing first startups or whatever in the beauty space, whatever it may be. Like, I haven't had many people do that. I think I also always say, even though you're navigating your marketing towards a very specific market, there'll always be overflow. Like there's always room in the party for extras to come in. So it doesn't mean you're not going to have overflow into other industries or get inquiries from other people. Absolutely not. So you may well find yourself working with a slightly different market that you maybe prefer, but most often it just gives them the clarity to actually have ownership. Like, okay, so this is the target market that I want to attract. This is the person, this is what my offer is going to look like, this is what my message is going to say. And it just gives them that feeling of like, I've arrived. And I just feel that it empowers you, really it does. And that's literally why my tagline is what it is, because once you have that empowerment, you are then able to move your business forward, to elevate it. Because if you're just going to sit in that same realm, like every other person that does the same business as you do, you're never going to really elevate above anybody else.
So it increases confidence, because confidence is one of our biggest, in my experience, confidence is what you need to make sales, because marketing and sales, not quite the same, but the marketing leads to sales. And if you've already increased your confidence during your marketing, you're almost certainly going to make that sale, because you know who you are and you know who you're servicing, and you know that you can help their problem. So,
and that's it. And I think, like, I'm sure Michelle agrees, is like, when you know what you do and who you do it for, like, if you attend a networking meeting, people can see that, you're going to show up and you're going to tell people, you're not going to be a little bit of this and maybe a little bit of that. And if you know anybody and somebody, you show up because you're prepared. Like, you get to a point, like, sometimes I also like look at myself and I go, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of this statement. But you get to a point where you just keep saying the same things, because that's now where you've positioned yourself. That's what you want people to see from you, because you're interacting with different people all the time, but you're giving them one message. And so it does, it just opens up that whole, like you said, I say clarity, you say confidence factor, and it just allows you to just communicate so much easier when interacting with people, and not like kind of thinking, well, what do I actually do? Who do I actually do this for? So it's like, that's why I say marketing is so underestimated in business. It's not just that Facebook or website. There is so much more to marketing. It actually is your business, really. It should be.
Yes, yeah. Michelle, I'd like to know from you, because we're talking about you develop this message for this persona and you then test it, right? You throw it out there and you see if it works. So how do you recommend that people test? How do they track the results of something?
So with small business owners, I think often all the stuff that gets bandied about SEO and algorithms and beating this and doing that and doing it just overcomplicates things. If you can get to know the person that you are selling to or marketing to, at the end of the day, it's having a conversation with someone, a good friend or someone you know really well, and helping them solve their problems. So you want to get that feedback immediately. If I'm having a conversation, you telling me a problem that you've got, and I say to you, oh, don't do this, or how about doing this, or try this, or whatever, you're going to immediately come back and go, are you nuts? I'm not going to do that. That's stupid. That's not me. I'm not comfortable doing that. And I think if you listen and you kind of are in tune and you engage with your audience on a regular basis, and you really get to know them, you'll know intuitively that feedback you're getting. Yes, I'm not saying ignore the likes and engagement, whatever, but what people need to understand is when you start a business, you've got Facebook and you've got 50, 100 followers. How many of those are just your friends and family who go like? If you want to grow your business, you need to get the people outside of that bubble. So it's great to start with who you know, but how do you get outside that bubble? And the only way you do that is to make sure everybody knows what you do. So those little people in your bubble can explain logically in a good manner what you do to other people. So you get those referrals, and that's how the networking works. But I think testing and measuring, by all means, go and have a look at the analytics. It gives you a good idea. Don't focus so much on the likes. Where are you getting comments? Where are you getting the engagement? Your comments and your engagement are way more important than your likes and your shares, because it takes very little time and effort for someone to just go like and share it. Whereas if they've actually taken time to comment, make sure that you go and engage with the comments, make sure that you give the feedback, you'll soon understand where the people are they talking back to you? You know, it's a bit like a guy trying to pick up a girl in a bar and like walks over to her and, you know, like Joey goes, you know, how are you doing? And they turn around and just like look at you. I think if you're human and you market like a human, you should know whether people like what you're doing or not. But
No,
don't
that's
get tied up in all the complicated stuff. And Megan will know this. When you've been in a corporate environment in marketing, the ad agencies come in and they want to do these big pitches and they use these big words and jargon. And they're trying to intimidate you into, you can't possibly do this without us. So just give me the money and let me go do it for you. And marketing is not complicated. It's not rocket science. It's just building relationships. And don't worry about B2B. I hate business to business marketing. It isn't. It's still people that you're working with. So it's people to people, person to person. Go out there, behave like a human. And, you know, if you're up and you're having your coffee and you think of something awesome to post, go post it. You know, don't think, oh, you know, the algorithm only likes 10 o'clock on a Wednesday or what. Just be you and your people will find you. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, people get too tied up in the analytics. Just listen and you'll get that feedback.
No, I like that. I know Marlon was talking in his session because he did 5 marketing trends to watch out for in 2022. And one of the things that he says is it looks like it's going to be big is this idea of conversation. So you can't just throw your marketing out there and hope for a return or hope for people to come to you because you threw this wide net. You should, exactly what you were saying is like pay attention to the comments and even start your own comments and actually engage with people. If they've liked something, ask them what they liked. Thanks for liking my post. What spoke to you? You know, what was it that resonated? Unless of course it's your mum, because then you know she liked it because she's your mum. But that same idea. It's engaging with people and remembering that they're human beings and showing them that you're a human being. And I quite like that as a trend. I thought that's a nice trend that we're heading into for the future. So
one other thing on the competition side of stuff is to get people to understand you need to be aware of your competition, but it can't derail you from where you're going because nobody can do it the way you do it. So don't stress. What I do for competitor analysis with my clients, go look at what other people are doing. What do you like? What's working? What sucks and you want to avoid? And where are there gaps where you could possibly fill? Don't go after product and price and details and this and this and this. Just go, what are they doing well? I often share other marketing agencies' content on my own page to my followers. And if I see an article, tag the person, give them an accolade. If it's, why go and recreate content yourself? If someone's already done something awesome and you can just share it with them, you know, you don't need to be scared of your competition because, you know.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I agree with it wholly. I have a coaching program for other accountants. Where I help them with the things that I had to fix, you know, with building my business, because a lot of accountants do the same thing as me, which is you start a business because you're good at accounting, and then you discover that being a business owner is very different. So there are, you know, huge challenges that come with that, and because I built an accounting firm, I'm most effective at helping another accountant. And a lot of people say to me, well, that's, you know, why are you helping your competition? And my feeling on that is I'm helping a colleague, because if I do, we elevate the industry as a whole, you know, because
and you're all good at different things.
Exactly. And my ideal client's probably not the same as their ideal client. I'm a different personality entirely, so who I want to work with is not necessarily going to be the same. And particularly in accounting, I believe you need to work with an accountant that you like and you trust and you connect with, because we should become one of your most trusted advisors. We should become part of your inner circle in your business and your team members to help you move forward. So you need to work with someone you really like. It's not about, are they the top accountant of your area and did they win an award and an accolade? Is, can I trust this person, and do I want to work with this person side by side for the next 5 years while I build up my business? And I'm not going to want to work with everybody like that. So for me, it makes sense to, like you say, look at the competition and yeah, copy the things that are cool and leave out the things that maybe I wouldn't do that way. But there's nothing wrong with helping each other out and sharing each other's posts and just saying, look, we're one industry, and we should be helping each other out. It's not like, I don't know, the world has changed. This idea of having to take your competition down, I don't think it exists anymore.
No.
Yeah,
There's a reason all your
yeah.
retail stores that are competitors are in the same spot, in the same road. I mean, look at your secondhand car dealers. There's tons of them, but it brings more business to everybody.
Yeah, and just on the comments about the conversation, sorry, I just wanted to add on to that end of that one. But yeah, totally with you. I actually encourage competition. I personally love it myself. I'm a very competitive person by nature, but that's why competition for me is awesome, because I learn from them and they learn from me, and we collaborate, which is amazing. You know, I mean, Marlon and I have, you know, done a number of things together. I mean, kind of pretty much do very much the same thing, but you know, there's always room for us to learn, or there's overflow, or there's, I can't really do this now, can you help me, you know? So no, totally. But like Michelle said, but don't look at your competition as to say, what are they doing, what can I do? Because I agree, that derails you. Stick to your plan, because you've got one. The chance that they have a plan, probably don't. So rather stick to your plan. So going back to the conversation part is, and something that I totally overlooked, and that just like last week reminded me, is, you know, obviously it's a whole quantity versus quality. People are worried about like how many posts likes they get, and like I don't have much engagement on my posts and stuff. And we were just saying, you know, I'm very much about just show up, and be consistent, you know, because you're not always going to have the same reactions. And one thing that one of the ladies that was on the talk last week from social media side said, just remember, behind every like, heart, reaction, whatever, emoji, she actually said, there's a person. So sometimes we're so worried about counting how many we get, we forget that actually somebody did react and somebody actually did comment. So agree, start that conversation with the people that actually showed up, you know, the people that actually left a little like. Don't go so worried about how many likes or comments you have that you actually forget about who do I actually have? Like, who are the people that are showing up and supporting me? So I just wanted to remind you about that, is totally like start a conversation with those people that show up, because if they are commenting and liking on your stuff on a regular basis, they're valuing your content. So start a conversation with them, and again, don't focus so much on the quantity versus quality thing. It's very much about quality.
I always laugh. Sorry, Megan.
Years, so, okay. No.
So I always laugh because for me, for Facebook and LinkedIn, you know, they go like, Pharsyde Accounting had a new like. Ooh, you go click on it, and it's me, because I liked my company's post, and I'm like, why are you telling me that I like to post that my company created?
I know. But you know what? It's cool. You were there. You showed up. Did they react or reply to you?
So yeah, your likes are not very meaningful. You're right. It's not a worry about how many you have. It's who's the person behind that like, because it meant something to them.
Yeah. Who's the face behind that emoji? I love that way of looking at it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. And also I liked what you said earlier, Michelle, about you don't like this business to business phraseology, because, and I think it's important today's world, we've got a lot of noise about AI and robotics. It's a big thing that's coming. It is exciting in a lot of ways, this idea of automation and you know, the robots being able to do things for you, especially the boring things. And it's a bit scary to people like me where our whole industry is boring and therefore we could be replaced idea. But at the same time, we also losing sight of the fact that people like dealing with people. You don't want to deal with robots. You know, like chatbots are really useful if you're away from your desk, but if you only have a chatbot helping people, they're going to go elsewhere. At the end of the day, the end result is that they want to speak to a human being. They want a human to care about their problem. So I think it's important to remember that marketing is people to people, human to human. I like that comment.
One of the things I learned from one of my clients runs a big ad agency, and he's actually quite involved with UJ on the artificial intelligence side of stuff. And I went to a talk that they did, and it was quite amazing that this professor said that the skills that people need in the future are the things that robots can't do: collaboration and communication. And those are the two things that, and collaboration, and that's why you can't be scared of your competition, because in the future of people is in the people having the ability to collaborate. And those individuals that learn to collaborate, and it doesn't mean being a team player, because I don't do team sports too well myself. I've always been more like karate, individual type stuff. But if you can collaborate and play well with others and actually all create something so much better, those are the people that are going to be there in the future. Everything else can be automated, but if you can't collaborate and you can't find a way of working with other people, albeit their competition, you're going to have a problem in the future. Because Megan, how much has our industry on the marketing training side of stuff grown through collaboration?
Totally.
We jump on each other's podcasts, we do business coaching together, we share projects, or I like doing retail strategy. I've got clients that don't have retail experience, and I jump on, take my branded stuff off, and I'm part of their team, and off I go, we do the strategy, and it works for everybody. That's, you don't need to be scared of your competition.
Or anyone. I'm a big cheerleader of outsourcing. As a way of growing your business and growing your team. You don't have to hire internally. You can outsource something, and it's the same thing. That outsourcing has this terrible name these days because a lot of stuff has gone wrong, and also it is responsible for some layoffs and things like that. So it's got this black cloud over it. But it's the same principle of collaborating business to business or human to human, going, I'm not good at this. You're good at this. So let me focus on what I'm good at, and you focus on what you're good at, and we'll work together. And that way our clients get a better end result, because they're getting a full service and a full business supporting them, instead of, and I think for solopreneurs in particular, but it's because you can't do everything. You try. And you just run yourself into the ground. That's basically what happens. So to be able to collaborate with others and actually build a full business without having to build a full business, a full company and a personnel, is very powerful. And that's actually starting to spill over into bigger businesses as well. There's no reason why, even if you do have a team, you can't get your team to focus on something and get really good at it, and rather give the periphery to another team and someone else's business, and just form like an ecosystem of work. I think it's a great.
You don't have to like everything. You don't have to like doing everything.
Yeah, you don't have to pretend.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect synergy, working with the most ideal client and working on the projects that give you the most energy. Why would you have it any other way? There's just some people in my industry that hate writing content, and I just love it, and there's some of us that just hate training, and there's just some of us that love it, and there's just some that don't enjoy doing certain activities, and then we just move on, and we collaborate, outsource. I pretty much call it the same thing. I typically introduce my company as we, although I sit here as a solopreneur in my office, but I'm a we, because I'm made up of a number of different people that support me. So yeah, I totally, but again, you need that clarity. You need to have gone through the process and determine what it is who you want to work with and what you want to do. And then once you've got that clarity, you'll also be able to kind of start seeing, well, what are the things that really do resonate or make you excited, and things that don't. And then when you start getting lots of clients and you can start being a little bit picky, then you can get to that stage and say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to outsource, and that's what I'm going to outsource. When I was actually speaking to a content creator yesterday, and she was like, what can I outsource? And I'm like, do you do graphics? She's like, yes. I'm like, start there, you know, start with your graphics. Like, you're a content creator. She writes emails and blogs and stuff. So why then waste your time on the graphics, you know? But there's this element, actually, the conversation came up because I know I was there too. It's like the control. Like you feel like, oh, but now I'm like handing over a little bit of my control. I know if she does it, when I get it back, I'm going to have to redo it anyway. So I might as well just do it myself. Yeah, I agree that does happen, but there's definitely an opportunity in your business when you get to that stage, you will know, where you can start looking and or maybe seen somebody or met somebody already that is the perfect partner for you to collaborate and say, okay, well, you're going to do my graphics and I'm going to write the content, because that's actually where I make most of my money. Actually, yesterday I met another guy, had a hectic day yesterday. I think I was in meetings for 6 hours. It was just one of those days. I don't know why, but long story short is he's a videographer, and he sits at his desk all day because he has teams of people that go and do these videos, and all he does is he sits at his desk. I was like, so what part of the videography part do you do? And he's like, nothing. Do you do the editing? No. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So that's what they say. You can essentially get to that point where your business either can run automatically on its own because you've got online training courses that people can just download, and or you have that ability to just manage a team of awesome people that can implement and do the work for you while you sit in the comfort of your home. Literally, that's what he was doing. I was like,
but also that's when you have a business, because up until that point you're actually just working for yourself, which is great, and there's a level of freedom that is worth, like, I would never knock it. I would never go back to employment. I must be honest. No matter how hard my whole business building journey was, I never ever once thought I'm just gonna go back to being employed. It just never entered into my mind. It did enter into my mind a few times that employment was easier, but I never actually thought I'm going to go back. But when you reach that point where you are now managing your business, not working in your business, you have an actual business. You're no longer self-employed, and that's got a new level of freedom that is really empowering and exciting, actually, as a business owner.
We've done that on our side because it started with just me, and then with lockdown and everything, it's Rob joined me in the business, my partner joined me in the business, and then my assistant who used to work with me in corporate, she came on as a social media manager, and now we have a virtual assistant who's our PA. We brought on a copywriter that I've known for years that I trust. I send her a brief that's probably 3 or 4 lines. I get back all the content that I needed. The client goes, this is awesome, no changes. Off you go. We've now brought on 2 junior web designers because Rob likes to focus on the big, more complicated projects. And the junior web designers means we don't need to turn down the clients that want some slightly simpler things. And also it's helping these 2 youngsters build their business. And now taken on a videographer, an editor, and another copywriter. So we now, with our graphic designer, there's 11 of us. But we all run our own businesses. We all work remotely, obviously Rob and I together, but everybody works remotely. Everybody is on retainer so that we have a set number of preferential rated hours and our work is priority. So it gives our clients that extra value, but at the same time, it gives Rob and I the freedom to do what we want to do. We moved down here, and for 3 weeks, the team ran the company.
Amazing, yeah.
It was like, we didn't even have to stress about it. I knew I could say to Roxanne that anybody who, I think sometimes she reads my mind, but anybody who needs help, and she would just do it. It's not, if this happens, do this, if this happens, do this. It's just, can you handle this? And we were fine. We moved, we didn't stress, we didn't hassle. And then when everything was settled, we went back full tilt again. And that's all collaboration. We all overlap. Everybody could technically steal everybody else's clients, technically, but nobody will.
Because you're stronger together.
Yeah. And we've got the guys that don't want to go out there bringing in the business. And I love doing that side of the business. So if I can bring the clients in and go, I've got this awesome client, I love doing the strategy, and that, you go implement it. That goes to the team. So, you get to do what you love doing, and you still offer really good value with people you can trust.
That's amazing. I love that. I think that's a fantastic way of doing
I
things.
was also an accountant and auditor in a past life. I had my own practice for 8 years, and then got back into a multinational corporate because I could travel a lot, and then decided marketing was way more fun.
Yeah, I can see that. We still do the accounting and compliance, and every now and then when I fill in quickly, for one of our bookkeepers, there's a great sense of comfort in that old work. But I must say, I'm far more excited in our new line, which is business development. Where we're growing and building and coaching, and that's more me. But like as you say, you learn who you are, and it changes over time who you are and what you do. So, which is, leads back to this idea of niching. Is that you should also be reevaluating your marketing all the time, right? Because if you're changing and your business is evolving, you can't be using a niche and a message that you developed 5 years ago. You can't be using that now. So you've got to constantly be aware of who you serve and what you do and who you want to be working with. So
we had our clients dictate. I'm sure and Megan had the same thing. You didn't start out training marketing, but the clients kind of like, can you do this? Can you teach me? Can you do this? And I'm sure that's probably how Megan also ends up with her side of stuff.
Yeah, and that's why I just a note to that as well is just remember, obviously Michelle's been in business a bit longer, and so her team has grown. So don't feel that you also have to arrive and expand immediately. Like, you could well be in your business
years. Exactly.
It could take you years too. So that's the one thing. The second part to that totally is, I also started when I was retrenched 4.5 years ago. I started a brand agency, hated implementation, but anyway, I did it because that's what the market wanted. And anyway, thank you to COVID, I realized what my passion was, and my passion was the education factor. Like, that is what I love. Strategy is my thing, and I just wanted to break it down for people to empower them and say, damn you people that have misled all these people about marketing. I'm here to get people to fall in love with marketing again. And so that's what I realized. And then again, I launched my business February last year. Just a year ago, I launched the online mentoring business. But in this 1 year, immediately I listened to my clients, and I could hear what they were wanting and what they were wanting. And so just this month, actually just this week, I've relaunched my entire website and my offering, because I was doing what I was set out to do. I was teaching them how to do a strategy. But in this process, I learned they actually want to know, like, they want to know the strategy because that gives them the clarity, but then they want to know, but how can you help me online? What content do I need to create? How often do I have to create? How often do I have to be on? How often do I have to show up? What do I need to say? So now my new part is like all about personal branding. I've got a whole lot of LinkedIn stuff in there. Got a whole lot of stuff about messaging and content plan, Snap, Marlon. And that's it, because I had to listen to what my customers were saying to me and what they were looking for, because I continually asked them, what do you guys want to get out of this program? What do you want to get out of this program? And at the end of each program, I would ask them, what was your biggest takeout? What did you maybe feel you could have had more? And all of it was content. So long story short, absolutely, my signal looks like it may be a bit delayed, but absolutely, as Tamron has indicated, again, listen, just keep listening and adjust. If you've now got this committed audience, adjust your offering again to suit what it is that they need, because then you're just going to keep them kind of coming back for more, and or you now have a fulfilled purpose. And that's how I feel. So funny enough, today I'm very proud to announce I've arrived on the top of my mountain, because I feel I'm fulfilled, because I've now 41, well, going into 41, I've only now decided, like, this is where I'm at. This is what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. And I actually bloody well enjoy it. And that's okay. Give yourself the time to go through the journey, see what it is you like to do. And then when you get there, I promise you, you will know you've arrived. And that will be the end of it. Whether you get those, also you always see those like posts hanging up going, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And everyone's like, oh, I seen that thing. It's so fake. Like, really, work is work, but it can actually be like that. Michelle's nodding her head because I know she totally agrees. She's sitting in St. Francis Bay right now, looking onto the beautiful ocean and doing what she loves. So it is doable, but just allow yourself the time as well.
Yeah.
I'll add to that. This is my 15th year in business. So yes, it takes a long time. It takes time to know who you are and what you love and where you thrive. It's not something that comes quickly. For some people it does, and they're fortunate. But for most people, you learn and you grow and you learn and you grow, and it takes time. But also that saying that work, love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I've always laughed at that. I'm like, if you love what you do, you're going to work harder. You said it, Michelle. Your challenge isn't working. Your challenge is to stop working and to go enjoy life.
Because it's fun. And this is the thing, is it's not a question of I'm tied to my desk because of volume of work. It's because I love what I'm doing. So it doesn't feel like this big sacrifice, because you're so engrossed and enjoying what you're doing and the people you're doing it for, that it's really not a challenge, but you do need to step up from behind the computer. I think my prescriptions got like 3 times worse during lockdown started for my glasses. So it's just important to get up and find that balance and make sure you're not totally engrossed. It's just my default is I love working, but now having the opportunity to go and do other stuff, you can balance it all.
Yeah. Marlon, you joined us. What is your comment on all of this?
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry for being so late. These appointments, they just run out of time. I've been catching just a little bit. Would you mind just sharing me what exactly you're talking about? Because I did hear bits and pieces from Megan, and just like, but what I was understanding from Megan is just refining your offering, and then we moved into this point where we're talking about doing what you love. So would you mind just giving me a little more?
Okay, I'll clarify. I'll give you one question. What do you think of Megan's comment on listening to your customers in order to refine your product and your offering?
Yeah, it's funny. We had that same conversation the other day, didn't we? I honestly believe if I was a smarter business person, I would have started there. And most likely, for most of us, it doesn't start like that. We start with a skill, we have an ability, so we want to bring that to the world, and then we do it. And then the thing is, we need this. They need a derivative of this. So then we go about trying to treat, and then that, I think, is like the mark of a good business person. To be able to just give people more of what they want. That's only going to build your influence, and then you can still probably bring in those other things, but now it's under what people really want and need. So I think it's a big critical element of business. I was having a chat today with a business owner who, the business is really interesting, but the way she built it was really just based on feedback from clients. The more feedback she got, the more she just added those services in and those little modifications to the business, and they grew so fast. So I think it's one of the biggest elements, and I think exactly what Megan said, about how she paid attention, she kept asking. I think that's a critical thing. Ask people, what do they want? What do they think?
Okay, I see Marlon and I have something in common today.
Yeah, your signal's battling a bit there.
Is it? Can't you hear me?
You just, your sound is not great, but I'm also got a terrible signal.
Okay, hold on. Let me try something different.
But yeah, Michelle, what do you think? You agree? Listening and implementing?
Yeah, definitely. Listen and implement. And what it's enabled us to do is start a whole new business. So we have #training, which is a completely separate business now. And that's allowed us to kind of put all the love into the little business owners that can't afford the agency, but we can still give back and help people grow on an ongoing basis. So definitely listening, you'll find places where you can fill gaps, places where you can find perfect opportunity. I always watch Megan's videos when they pop up on my LinkedIn timeline. So, because you always learn something. And I think it is important, just listen, because every single person you talk to, you can learn something from. It could be the person cleaning the floor or the CEO of a multinational. You can learn something. You just need to be open to it. That wisdom tends to come with age.
Yeah, I guess none of us listened as a child, right? But I totally agree. Like, to this day, I will say listening is what will be a major difference in your business. It is a little bit of reading, and I do obviously say research and learn, but listening is a key factor.
It makes a big difference. I know we did I did an interview with Marlon earlier. That's why he said we spoke about it this week. And that was my last question, was if you started again from scratch, but you had your knowledge now, what would you do differently? And that's what Marlon said. He said he would have started with the customer. Start with the customer, because you know your product and you know you, and you know how you want to be doing things, but do you actually know if they want it? So yeah, I thought that was excellent advice, to start with the customer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Seth Godin, which is like a mentor for
I love him.
marketing people. We like to watch him because he wears cute glasses. So he has that very famous quote that says, don't make products, make products for your customers. Okay, so don't just make products for your, what's the quote now? But basically, you need to make your products for your customers. I think I actually even shared a quote in my presentation. And that's it, because everyone arrives, I've got accounting, I'm ready to sell. Whereas, you know what, if you actually just took it from the other angle and said, okay, well, I'm actually going to go with startups. Okay, so what do startups actually need? They don't really need an accountant from the offset necessarily. They need help with let's register a business. Do I need to have tax? Do I not? How do I do this? What do I need? What's important for me? Those are the things that matter to them. So it changes your whole offering. So now you're not just an accountant, you actually have a solution. And that is what I encourage people to do, because that from the offset is going to set you apart. So totally don't make products for, I can't get it now, but anyway, the long story short is make products for your customers. So you got to know who your customer is first before you even think you've got a product.
Isn't it, don't make products for your business, make them for your customer?
No, I'll go Google it quickly. No, it's not that. I've said it so many times, but I can't now.
I'm Googling it on my other screen. It is not bothering me that I can't remember it.
Here we go. Don't find customers for your products. Find products for your
customers. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, he's actually quite cool. If you watch some of his videos on YouTube, he's got so much wisdom to share. Seth Godin, S-E-T-H, surname Godin.
There's a really cool video. I actually used Seth Godin video in my training that I did.
Okay.
And that was very much around marketing and how things are changing. And that was, when he did his book. And that's always quite a cool one. I also like Zig Ziglar, because he says, if people like you, they'll listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. They don't have to like you to do business with you. They just have to trust you.
Yeah, totally, so true.
Ladies, and Marlon, thank you so much. So Marlon's trying hard, but I think his internet has betrayed him. But thank you so much for this chat. I think it's been it's been fun for me, and I think it's been really valuable. And anyone who catches the recording is really going to learn a lot. I might even, in the spirit of collaboration, I might go just share this on LinkedIn, because I just think this content has been phenomenal. So, so if I do you want to just quickly mention to anyone watching where they can find you, Michelle?
The best place to find me is on LinkedIn. It's Michelle Macfarlane, and that's my favorite place for people to find me. Otherwise, we are on all the other social media, but find me on LinkedIn. That's the best.
And Megan?
Yeah, so you can also find me on LinkedIn. It's Megan Kronberger. And yeah, or you can visit my website, www.themarketinglifeline.com. I also have some awesome downloads for you, or you're welcome to book a 30-minute chat with me too. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And see, Marlon's disappeared, but I know Marlon is also on LinkedIn, so you could find Marlon August on LinkedIn. And yeah, I think I am going to share this, so I'm encouraging anyone who does watch it to reach out to these three amazing marketing people, because you've seen how willing they are to help, how open they are with the information, and how good you guys are at what you do. I mean, the information you've shared has been phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having us and being able to just share and hopefully empower a whole lot of other business owners in the near future.
It's definitely, it's been a great amount of fun. Guys, catch up. Trust me, follow Megan on LinkedIn. Her videos, content is absolutely awesome. And Marlon, I'm going to send you a connection request. I shall find you. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks. So nice to see you again, Michelle. And yeah, thanks for always supporting my posts and shares on LinkedIn.
So Marlon, I think you got your connection right just in time for us to end.
Yeah, at least I get to say goodbye properly.
And I did tell everyone to look for you on LinkedIn, so you can still chat to anyone watching if they need
Thank you.
help with storytelling.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully I could have provided a little bit of value in the small bit of that you could hear. But yeah, appreciate being a part of the panel, and looking forward to connect with all of you. And by the way, Michelle, we're already connected actually.
I see that actually. You're the one with the really cool profile picture.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Well, Marlon, I'm going to leave the ending on you. What is the last piece of advice that you would give a business owner right now if they need to revise their marketing? Where would you tell them to start?
It's probably the most boring place, and it's really like who you're speaking to, and then because when you know who you're speaking to, I think most of your work is already done there. So when you know who you're speaking to and the problems you're solving, then the rest kind of flows from there. And if you can be really clear in the way that you do that, it just, everything is easier. I mean, I even have a case study on that. Like literally, just only if your messaging is right, everything is so much easier.
That's wonderful, because that's exactly where we started this conversation. So we've gone full circle, and it's a wonderful confirmation of everything that Michelle and Megan have said, that is, we need to be very clear on who we serve and what we do, and then you can find your clients and sell to them. So thank you so much, Marlon. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Megan. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Chat soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you guys. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.